growing, but it seems like it's up over 800 at this time. And included in that number are representatives from organizations, from 240 organizations from all 50 states. Look around. This is the network where freedom transforms lives. And while this event keeps growing, it also gets younger and younger. So you will see on the agenda that we spend a lot of time focusing on training the leadership of tomorrow. Now, right about now, our good friend Forrest Thigpen, who runs the think tank in Mississippi, he's landing back in Jackson, Mississippi. He was here last night. Unfortunately, his father-in-law died suddenly, and he had to get home quickly. So I would like you to keep him in your thoughts and prayers. There will also be an easel, kind of an oversized card for him that you can sign. And we're grateful that other affiliates from the Mississippi think tank will be here with us, but let's keep Forrest in our thoughts and prayers. As you know, this is our 20th annual meeting, but only a small portion of what we're going to do here will be on reminiscing. Most of what we will hear and learn will be skewed with an eye toward the future as we work towards what lies ahead of us. And that work will require innovation, which is why we pick off our program on innovation. There are so many similarities between State Policy Network and the CrossFit movement. Both movements are communities based on an open source voluntary platform. Both movements practice an adherence and loyalty to first principles. Both SPN and CrossFit see themselves as engendering healthy, positive, and economically beneficial improvements to society. And both movements have been labeled as oversimplified guerrilla insurgencies by their opponents, who, bottom line, would rather have a top-down control, manipulated society. And in both movements, we are in the ascendancy, proving the efficacy of our principles and the methods and model and our patience. But before we begin our CrossFit workout for today, and now half the room runs out, but before that, we want to take a minute to reflect on the events of last week. Certainly, my friends, all of us sitting here in this room owe the next generation better than what they're going to get if we don't succeed. The American success story depends on innovation, not entitlement. We must face the brutal facts. Advancing freedom requires that we sell the benefits of our freedom ideas to an electorate that is not interested in reading our studies. But we don't have to water down our principles to achieve this, nor do we need to manipulate people. Throughout this meeting, you will see new information, get sample stories, and get new training about helping us reach our target audiences. One such example can be found in Montana, where Carl Graham seeks to reach his target audience by combining demographic research and the skills that Kevin Kerr has been teaching us. So for right now, let's take a look at what's going on in Montana. Who don't necessarily agree with what the founders wanted will and are defining these terms for us. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce a tireless promoter of the founders' vision. And he's also a longtime leader of the state-focused think tank movement, especially through his work as executive director of the JM and Milbank Foundations. But what you may not know about Carl is that he's also a level 1 certified CrossFit trainer. So it's our pleasure to have him introduce our speaker today. Ladies and gentlemen, State Policy Network's chairman of the board, Carl Hellstrom.
last week we celebrated the founding of the United States Marine Corps, Veterans Day, so I'd like to take a moment to remember the airmen, Marines, sailors, and soldiers who served or are serving in the armed forces. There's nobody who deserves our thanks and respect more than they do, and I'd like to take a moment to give thanks to them and play a role they play in our society. This morning to introduce Greg Glassman, the founder and CEO of CrossFit, and to welcome him and his colleagues to the State Policy Network's 20th annual meeting. My beautiful wife Jane is here, and she can tell you that this is truly a dream come true for me. It's bringing together two of my greatest passions, the independent think tank community that promotes freedom and free enterprise, and CrossFit. Both have had an elemental effect on me, and my ulterior motive from the time we first invited Coach Glassman to speak was to bring the two communities together. I believe we'll find a lot of common ground, and hopefully it will lead to bigger and better things in the future. If you're familiar with CrossFit already, you might know that it's an exercise protocol that utilizes functional movements. You might know it's a rapidly growing business, a brand that's increasingly synonymous with a healthy lifestyle. You might know it through the CrossFit Games, featured on ESPN as a worldwide exhibition of a brand new sport. But those of you who've looked a little closer at CrossFit will know that it's a catalyst for a dynamic culture of self-improvement that, in my opinion, will help us to restore confidence and pride in the American dream. CrossFit is creating a community of individuals who are experiencing greater health and wellness quickly, not with fads, but with a sound, empirically tested fitness and lifestyle regimen that depends on individual initiative and responsibility. How are they doing it? The same way I think we have to promote the public policies of freedom and free enterprise, from the grassroots up. One person at a time, one family at a time, one neighborhood at a time. It's an incredible phenomenon, a rapidly growing culture that is innovative and entrepreneurial, rooted in ideas that are fundamentally American, like hard work and individual initiative. The same ideas we promote through the State Policy Network and the state think tanks. Dr. Darrell White is a physician who's a fan of Coach Glassman's, but earlier this year he called him the most dangerous man in American healthcare. In a blog entry he wrote, "The man who will make the biggest difference in making our country healthier and thereby reducing the cost of providing healthcare is a fitness trainer from Santa Cruz, California. The man who might hold the key to economic healthcare salvation is not even a blip on the margins of the healthcare establishment's radar screen." Somewhere around 2001, Greg Glassman co-founded a fitness system he dubbed CrossFit. He offered the first actionable definition of fitness ever created, and guess what? A funny thing happened on the way to revolutionizing the fitness industry. Everyone who did CrossFit got healthier. Dr. White continued, "A healthy nation is one that need not expend countless billions on curing diseases that could be prevented by becoming fit." Coach Glassman is willing to say the road to economic salvation in American healthcare leads through the gym, the grocery store, and the kitchen, not to or through something as meaningless as an accountable healthcare organization, whatever that might be. Greg Glassman is right, and he doesn't care that all of the so-called experts in healthcare don't know who he is yet, or that they wouldn't agree with him if they did. Judging by what's going on in the physical fitness industry right now, as CrossFit grows 30% per month, I'd say that Greg Glassman is the most dangerous man in American healthcare. I really like the way Dr. White described the crux of CrossFit's success. Let me repeat it one more time. A funny thing happened on the way to revolutionizing the fitness industry. Everyone who did CrossFit got healthier. Wouldn't it be great if we could harness some of the magic that Coach Glassman and CrossFit are making so people could say about our efforts on the way to revolutionizing the public policy industry? Everyone got freer. I can live with that. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to present Coach Greg Glassman.
morning. I don't know if I'm perfectly unprepared for this, or I've prepared for this my whole life. That's all I've ever done. And we'll find out. Our community has launched 5,000 small businesses. They have a better than 95% chance of standing at the 5-year mark. I'm so proud of that. I'm so proud of that. And but it may have happened by accident of nature. So stories, I got a story to tell you. I was a trainer in the gym, and I was working for Gold's largely. I'd been in half a dozen Gold's gyms over a 20-year period. And I had a better training methodology. And I could prove it with everyone that trained with me. You get fitter working with me than you would anyone else. And that kept me very, very busy. But it was funny, I didn't see myself as a businessman. And I spent a lot of time trying to find out how to put more hours in a week. It turns out you can only train effectively about 30 hours a week. You do more than that, and what happens is the days get longer, and by the time you've seen the 6th or 7th person in a day, the 8th person, your enthusiasm isn't what it could be. You don't have the same excitement, the same drive. It's just not there. The spark isn't what it is at 5 a.m. You don't have the same thing at 5 p.m. if you start at 5 a.m. And there's nothing you can do about that. So I always look, how can I leverage my efforts? And I couldn't do it. For 20 years I couldn't make it happen. I could stay very, very busy, but couldn't go beyond that. And I thought that I had something that was so important it needed to be shared with the world, but nothing was happening. Out to 3 significant figures, the growth of CrossFit was 0 for 2 decades. But I was doing all right. I could pay my bills. Then the internet app came along. Outward did that, I think, about 2000. And we launched a website. But something happened simultaneously, and that is I had moved to Santa Cruz, California, and I got thrown out of the last commercial gym. And there were only 3 or 4 in Santa Cruz. And over a period of about 2 years, I'd earned my removal to the last commercial gym in Santa Cruz. And it's a very natural process. All you have to do as a trainer is dominate the local culture, the local environment within a gym, and take the clients from all the other trainers. And your days are numbered, you're about done. So you go down the road with your clients, and the new gyms are anxious to have you until they find out that you can completely take over their culture, take all the clients, the business, and then you get sent packing. Well, what happened was I didn't have anywhere to go. And a friend of mine, a client who was a jiu-jitsu instructor at a jiu-jitsu school, he says, they hate you because you're the best. And that's okay. You come work with me and we'll keep going. So I got 150 square feet of dedicated space in a jiu-jitsu school. And I took my clients over there, and it was just an amazing experience. I freed myself from the Gold's Gym structure. Here I was working with a jiu-jitsu friend, and I got a space about like that. And God, I felt like I was a businessman all of a sudden. Doing the same thing I've been doing for decades, same clients, but we could do some things we couldn't do before, like hang a rope, hang rings, lots of activities that were now possible but weren't before, but that didn't make the difference. The real difference was I felt like a businessman, really excited. And after about a year of being in the jiu-jitsu school, we went out and got our own gym, first box ever. And it was 1,250 square feet, roll-up door in a research park in Santa Cruz. And I'll never forget what it was like to unlock those doors for the first time, stand there and just wait for the people to come in the morning. I had been visiting the box. That's what we call our gyms, boxes, because they are just fundamentally 4 walls and a top. I visited regularly, in the prep to opening, and just turn on all the lights and stuff, and just stand there and look at it. in that first CrossFit Journal, those of you that have some exposure to the community, those pictures in that garage gym article were taken one of the evenings when I went down there prior to being officially open. Just roll up the doors and just stand there and stare at it. And I thought, well, now I'm really a businessman because I have a business. I mean, for me, business was a physical location. And I wasn't part of somebody else's business, but I had my own business. And I said, well, you know what? I don't know anything about business. Nothing. So I'm going to go to the bookstore. Now, I'm a failed academic. I've studied applied mathematics, physics, chemistry, English, philosophy. I dabbled in just about everything, but I never took a business course, not one. I'm no stranger to learning. I'm not afraid to learn. None of that's intimidating me at all. So I went to the bookstore, to the Capitola bookstore, a little independent bookstore in Santa Cruz County. And I went and I looked at the business books. And I sat in the bookstore for several hours, just going through. It was about 15 feet of business books. And there wasn't one book on the shelf, not one, that told me how to improve my product or service. They weren't even about that. And so here I'm in the business section of the bookstore, and these don't seem like business books to me. Because my instincts are, I want to have the best training program on earth. Who can help me make it better? There was nothing in the books that had any bearing on that at all. So I started thinking, well, geez, how are we going to do this? Roll the clock forward a few months. We outgrew that space at 1,250 square feet. It took about 4 or 5 months. And I had a problem. I had an overcrowding issue. So we started looking at expanding. Well, that made me nervous. I was going to double or triple my rent. Can I do that? So I started making a checklist of all the reasons to expand, pros and cons, just like 1 or 2. And I looked at that list, and it might be that in the morning when I had a lot of energy and a lot of enthusiasm, I'd look at the pros and cons, and it was clearly on the side of the pros. You got to do this. It makes sense. It makes good business sense. If I find myself a little later in the day, a little bit tired, mood would be beaten down. I'd look at the list, and a bunch of the stuff in the pros seemed now like it would be in the cons, like maybe that won't happen. And I found it, and what am I trying to do? I'm trying to be a businessman. Was it, I'd forgotten this instinct of mine to just make the program better. What I was doing, my checklist was really about, will this work financially? Is this a good business decision? And the mindset was that business is about making money, because if you can't pay the rent, you won't be in business. But then it hit me in just a blinding flash. Wait a minute, I'm not trying to make money. Money's what happens when you do something right. And so, this was the insight. You are here. There's the money. Over here we have excellence. All of my thoughts about money seemed to miss the mark, or it was just, there was no consistency to it. I couldn't come up with a plan that, yeah, this will work, I know it would. But I looked at excellence. So throw away the checklist. The gym expansion. Will it be good for clients? Forget for a moment all the monetary considerations. And it was, God, we could get mountain bikes. Would that be good? Well, that would be great. We can hang more ropes. We can get more rowers. We could, and I just had a big long list of things. It was going to make a salient, powerful difference for the clientele. And the list didn't waver. And I could come up with 10 things that would be great to do in an expanded facility, and put it away and look at it a day or 2 later, and they were still great ideas. I'd share them with staff, and I'd go, these are great ideas, things we need to do. I asked Dave and Nicole and Jimmy to make me a list of things that would make this a better gym, things we could do with more space. We had the same list. And when we did those things, all of our clientele go, this is excellent, this is fantastic, here's what we were seeing. Excellence is obvious to everyone. I don't know anything about hair salons. I go into Jose Bear's salon in Beverly Hills, and I'm like, this is amazing. It's an amazing place. I have an orthodontist friend in Prescott, Arizona that has an amazing practice. I mean, it's something to be seen. 15 chairs with kids in them. And his assistants are doing the orthodontia. He's just standing there watching, right? And it's a fun place, and it's a beautiful environment. It's excellent. It's an outstanding orthodontic practice. Excellence is obvious to everyone. It is the beacon. It's so clear. Move to excellence, and here's what free markets do. They reward excellence with money. It's just that easy. Markets are fundamentally unknowable, I believe. But excellence is obvious. You chase the excellence and it comes to you. That first gym was really, really good. It was the best gym the world had ever seen. A friend called me up and said, a friend in Seattle, he said, we want to be an affiliate. I said, that's awesome. What's an affiliate? I'm a trainer, right? I encourage dreams. He wants to be an affiliate. It's like, well, tell me about this affiliate thing. He says, we want to be a CrossFit gym. I said, oh, that's fantastic. Let's do it. He goes, cool. He goes, but I'm going to use the name CrossFit. And I go, okay, go ahead. He says, well, I think you'd want something for that, right? I said, yeah, like $500 a year. You got a gym. So he opened up a gym in a SureGuard storage shed. You know, you go, yeah, you know, 6 by 9, I believe it was. Is that right, Ron? There was the second gym. Then T.J. Cooper, who's in the sheriff's office here in Jacksonville, he called up. And he says, I want to be one too. I'm going to do that affiliate thing. I go, it costs $500 every year. But I'll waive your fees because you're one of the early ones. So the first one was CrossFit North. TJ became CrossFit East. I said, this is incredible. There's probably going to be 5 someday. North, South, East, and West, and us will be headquarters. Have you seen the business genius? It's amazing. Early on, they wanted us to tell them what to do. We said, we told you what to do. We showed you. You train like this. What time should we unlock the doors? Like, I don't know, before your first client would say. When do I go home at night? When the last client's left in the place. What about an accounting system? I said, I don't know anything about that. And the clients put their checks in the drawer, and when it starts filling up, they take them to the bank. I don't have that answer. But I do understand excellence. And I know when you're doing a good job training, and you will too. I believe that business is the art and science of providing uniquely attractive opportunities for other people. Business is the art and science of providing uniquely attractive opportunities for other people. That's what we've done. That's it. Nothing else. We got 5,000 gyms. We're picking up about 15 to 20 a week right now. These are small businesses with a 95% survival rate at the 5-year mark. It's unprecedented. All that's at play here is free market principles. They did take from us a very strong training idea. But remember, that idea languished in its current form for 20 years with out to 3 figures zero growth. What happened was that this idea was given to the world. And anyone who wants to, you could take the physiological model, the training stimulus that is CrossFit, and you could open up a gym and you'd have all the success in the world, and you don't have to give me anything. None of the methods, none of the concepts, none of it's protected. The only thing we protect is the name. But what the name represents now is this assemblage, this crew of 5,000 affiliates, 50,000 trainers, and we've gotten pretty good penetration in the one. We've got some of you in here now, some of us are you. So by the way, I am one of you. Last week was unbelievable. I just had to turn away, just shut down. Went in, back to what we're doing. You know, it's a Covey-esque kind of thing. Keep your circle of
concern within your circle of influence. Get back to the things we know we can do. And we can make the world a better place, one client at a time. One client at a time. It's an incredible honor. Incredible honor to be here. We have a model I want to share with you. Our estimate is that the CrossFit ecosystem is about $1 billion. That is the total financial take of all the trainers, of all the gyms. And our chunk of this is about 24 degrees of 360, or about 50 mil. And as this grows, what we're going to do is we're going to have this arc section diminish. When I was the only CrossFit trainer, I was taking 100%. When CrossFit North opened up, I lost some of the market share. And in fact, this slice of the pie that is within our control is narrowing, and by design, because the circle is growing, and it's growing rapidly. They're about 50% a year currently. They're about 50% a year. We call this the least rents model. I am not interested in the activity that sits out here. It doesn't belong to us, it belongs to other people. Our job is to force these boundaries out to make the circle bigger for everyone, while our section narrows. And we have to do that. We have legal authority, we own the name, but we have moral authority in that we speak for the affiliates and we will defend them to the end of the world. And it's a very different thing, because the private equity and the venture capital that have approached us, and we deal all day long currently with private equity and venture capital. What they want to see me do is this. They want us to take a bigger chunk. And we know that that would shrink the circle. Might make me wealthy. I had someone from private equity sit down with me and tell me, you should be a billionaire. I said, why is that? He says, it's all the money you're leaving on the table. I said, the money we're leaving on the table is an opportunity for other people. Let me give you one for instance. There's an outfit called Rogue. They're in Columbus, Ohio. They make CrossFit gear. They make equipment for CrossFitters. They'll probably do $60 million this year. Now, I can help myself to some of that by requiring that affiliates use CrossFit branded gear. And then Rogue would have a real problem. And if I wanted to play the hand, we could probably acquire Rogue through that. I don't want to own Rogue. I don't want to step outside of our core competency. I don't want to lose the moral authority. I'm not trying to make money. I'm trying to grow a community. I'm trying to support a community. It's a very different thing. I've come to see this through my reading, this approach to widen the bandwidth, widen the arc sector, get more for yourself with no regard for the community. It's rent seeking. And I got a big issue with it. And I understand now that you are here and the excellence, what we were chasing is value, wealth creation. And I have a real problem with any business activity that isn't about value creation. And people that go to school and pick up an MBA, they are all too often short-sighted in their thinking. And what they're trying to do is make money. And trying to make money is no way to run a business. It isn't. It would be like trying to run an airline by just burning jet fuel. You might have the MBA to tell you, the more fuel we burn, that just correlates to the group bottom line, right? Why don't we just set fire to our fuel tanks? It's not about the money. Money is essential to run a business. But it's not why you run a business. It's not what makes a business grow. Businesses grow on dreams. They grow on wanting to make a difference. They grow out of they come out of a passion. They're born and they develop out of a passion to change the world. I've had the wonderful experience of having had several billionaire clients, big name, well-known folks. Not one of them was interested in money. Not one. I mean, they just feel. I stood next to, I'll tell you, one is Philippe Kahn is a friend of mine. We stood there once on a property that is looking out over the Monterey Bay. And he said, it'll be the last thing to go. I said, what do you mean? I knew what he meant. This guy's got a history. He's a serial billionaire. You make $1 billion, spend it. Make another $1 billion, spend it all. We're going to spend it all fake. He said, that'd be the last thing left. He says, I could live like Kaczynski, you know, the Unabomber. And he was talking about ruining people's lives through horrid acts, not through terrorism. It just meant the lifestyle, the simplicity. And it was spine-chilling. I mean, he meant it. Wanting money doesn't get you there. And the people that make the bottom line money, many of them end up behind bars. Many of them destroy businesses, destroy lives. People want to make the world a better place, are less likely to do that. The place for the idealism that finds its manifestation in coercion in government. Idealism that finds its expression through government. It stacks bodies like cordwood. It results in death, and decay, and destruction. The place for the idealism is in the business community. That's where it belongs. And that's been, I think, at the heart of business always. The men and women that create epic businesses are trying to change the world. And if you're even moderately successful at that, you'll find that money is an essential part of the process, but never the goal. That's the story. That's the story. Hit me up with a question. Let's talk. Right there. Yes. I'll help. Yes.
What person or idea got involved in the marketing design? And all the rural workouts, and all the, which ones are big?
Let's start with the easy question, Frank. Yeah, hands down. Because it's so horrible. In the CrossFit world, favorite it often means the most horrible. So yeah, we love that one. I'm a libertarian by birth. I mean, it is in my blood. I don't like to be told what to do. And we've got a physiological. I mean, look at our gym model. The industry standard is machines. We don't use machines. The industry standard is low intensity, long duration workouts. Ours are high intensity and very short duration. Industry standard is a lot of isolation movements, lateral raises and curls and that kind of stuff. Not us, compound movements that always. The whole world's been told that fat is bad and carbs are good. Well, the truth of it is that carbs are bad and fat is good. Everyone's got it wrong. This is a bizarre world. We run group classes, not individual classes. I mean, everything that's done in the gym industry, we do differently. And that's because I want to do things that work, not what everyone's doing. So I don't mind being an iconoclast or out of sync or getting in trouble or pissing anyone off. It's never been a concern of mine. Roll that forward, and what you do, you can't help but find Hayek and von Mises and Friedman, and I mean, those things are there. Those are hugely informative. Road to Serfdom is one of the few books that I finished reading, and I started again, just went from the last page to the intro, and finished it again, and we bought hundreds of copies of that and given them to staff. If you're a CrossFitter, you need to read The Road to Serfdom. A client of mine, who's successful government official in the Santa Clara Valley said to me once, "You're libertarian." She goes, "You know, it's so weird. All my smart friends are libertarian." I say, "Chris, you just work with that for a little while and come back to me, guys. I'm not gonna, it's too easy this early in the morning." When I have someone read like Free to Choose or David Boaz's book, The Libertarian Primer, my lefty friends read that stuff and they don't come back with objections. What'd you think of that? That was great. Really? So? Nothing. And that's weird. Next. What else we got? Yes, sir.
Part and parcel of your success is that you've created a model that is attractive to people who want to be fit. And at some point in the process, you're going to hit the wall and meet up with people who don't want to be fit.
Yeah.
What we're trying to do, I'm Rob Simmons of the Yankee Institute, Connecticut. What we're trying to do is promote freedom, free enterprise, entrepreneurial spirit, and limited government. But we've encountered a situation in Connecticut, and perhaps this is true in other states, where we've bumped up against a large segment of our population that don't want to be free. They want to be dependent. So, if this analogy is correct, we're at the wall, you're not there yet. What do you do when you hit the wall with the people who don't want to come into CrossFit and don't want to be fit? How do you address that problem?
Yeah, I don't have a game plan there, and I recognize that wall, but it feels very theoretical to me, and I don't know that that wall can't be moved. But where that happens in our world, that happens down at the client level, at the trainer level, within the affiliates. And this was my issue as a trainer always, that someone told me they wanted something different in life. They didn't want to be fat, or they wanted to be a better ball player, or whatever they wanted. And the hard part of my job was that I would bring them face to face with the true costs of achieving their dream. And it turns out blood, sweat, tears, and other bodily fluids. It was a lot of giving. I had an ophthalmologist once who was just doing epic performance on the bike, stationary bike. I told him, "Doc, it's just amazing, He goes, "I don't know if it's worth it," he barks at me, and I get it. I mean, we bring people face to face with those costs. And it happens on an individual level. It happens with one person at a time. And I don't know if there's going to be a single book or a single leader that's going to affect that. I don't think so. I think the books in the leading is going to come out of changing the hearts and minds of the people individually, one at a time. And I know you can't do that. I have single-handedly, Sevon, converted some of my staff from weird thinking about where good things come from government. It does not. It comes from individuals, free individuals. And you can do that. So, and I saw that bit on the storytelling. That's got to be a piece of it. That's got to be a piece of it. It's not going to be easy, but it does have to be grassroots, and I think it has to be done at this individual level. I recognize the dilemma, sir.
I know,
Yes.
Sue, what was that moment for you when you maybe put together that first workout that would become CrossFit? Do you remember that?
Yeah. Have you heard this story before?
Yeah.
Okay. I was a 15-year-old gymnast, and I lived in Chatsworth, California, and I didn't have access to gymnastics equipment or gyms year-round. Not many people did. I wasn't that fortunate. But I was competitive, I was serious, and I came from a gymnastics community that had produced Olympians. And so everything was there except maybe the resources to put me in a gym year-round. So I decided I was going to try and develop my ring strength with weights, see if that could be done with dumbbells and a barbell. Could I get stronger as a ringman? The answer turned out to be hell yeah. But, so I needed a weight set, and I talked Pop into buying me a weight set. I had to wax floors for a month or something in the house. My old man would work me at 15 cents an hour. And he paid me in 1995 for a Ted Williams Sears weight set. And I put a pull-up bar in the doorway, one of those Voight, I don't know if it's not a fitness crowd necessarily, but you might know what I'm talking about. The thing you twist and expand into the door chamber. So I had a weight set, and I had a pull-up bar. And I was looking at it, and what I was trying to do is I wanted to capture some of the incredible demands of a 2-minute ring routine. And what happens early in the season on a ring routine is you practice through the year and you work tricks. So you get these elements. And then as you get close to the competition season, you have to put them together. Well, the difference between a routine practicing the elements and doing them together and not coming off the thing, because you get to duck, you have to smile and look like that didn't take anything out of me. But yet you're at 200 beats a minute, and you think you're going to throw up. And so I wanted to catch that conditioning. Well, I got this Sears Ted Williams weight set, and Ted Williams is doing this kind of stuff, and this kind of stuff. And it's like, there's no amount of this you're ever going to do that's going to feel like a ring routine. So I tried some other movements. One of the first ones that came up was this. If you held the bar to your chest and you went all the way down and all the way up, and you did that 10 or 15 times with 95 pounds, and you wanted to sit down, it felt like a ring routine. So I thought, well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do 21 of these things with 95 pounds. And then I'm going to do 21 pull-ups. And then I'm going to do 15 of each. And then I'm going to do 9 of each. And I'm going to time it. So I did. And it made me sick. I threw up all over myself. It's funny. I did this in my garage. And I actually got Dad to pull the 63 wagon out of the garage and give me that space. Single car garage. And it was me and my German Shepherd in there doing this thing. Dog helped me clean up the vomit. I went across the street and knocked on my buddy's door. He was a pommel horse guy. And he said, what's on you? What is that? I got nothing. Come on, I gotta show you something. Yeah, come on. And I had him do it. And I stood there and watched, and he threw up. And he's telling me, man, he goes, that feels like a gymnastics routine. Yeah, it does. So I go, let's go get your brother. His brother was a parallel bar guy. So we go and we go, hey, Craig, he goes, what's with you two? What have you been doing? We go, come on, we want to show you something. He said, F no. Those numbers still hold today. That's kind of how it goes. You know? And that later got named Frank. They very workout. So I was 16 years old when that happened. And it's all just been like that. You find something that's supremely discomforting, and the natural adaptive response is next time you do it, at the same output level, it's not quite as bad. That delta is fitness, folks. There it is. Let me tell you another part that was critical to CrossFit success, and I see the need for it in the business world. I'm a fitness guy, and we all talk fitness, and all the experts are talking fitness, but no one's defined it. There was no definition. There was some offered by like American College of Sports Medicine, and it talked about vitality and energy and well-being, and they had a big long list of stuff. It was really an interesting construction of the sentence. I could tell what happened. What they did is they got a room full of people together that couldn't agree on what fitness is, so they passed the hat around and let everyone make a contribution and threw it in the pile. In this list of 30 or 40 pieces, and this is coming out of academics. That's another thing I have little faith in. Government and education, right? Public education. Where was it? Definition. Yeah. I came up with some operational definitions. I said, we need something here. But look, suppose you just put a bunch of tasks in a hopper and spun it, and pulled them out one at a time. And lined up people who had them do these tasks. And confront people with the unknown and the unknowable. My belief is that he or she that on average did best with the fittest. I said, let's give us one model. Here's another one. Let's look at the family of physiological adaptations, things that happen when you exercise. You improve your cardiorespiratory endurance, you improve your stamina, strength, flexibility, power, speed, coordination, accuracy, agility, and balance, and those have all been well defined. That's what happens when you get fit. Why don't we just offer up that he or she that has the best breadth and depth within these capacities is fittest? So we had these kind of operational definitions. And I had 3 or 4 of them, and they served us well. But what we told the world is that it makes no sense to champion the cause of fitness without defining it. I'm sorry about all this fitness talk, but it is my reference point. But this does have bearing, and I'll give you one great example where we've applied this to business. So I told the world, this is I think in 2002, you need a workable definition of fitness, and it would be nice if it were amenable to accurate and precise estimation. That would be nice. Heard nothing. Nothing. But the document where I offered these 4 operational models saw nearly 1 million downloads. Everyone agreed this is very important work, but we didn't hear anything from there. And so we took the next step, which was, that's not fun. So bomb erasing. If you graph, let me see if I can clean this up a little better. If I put power here, and if I put duration of effort here, and if I find a host of things that takes you, say, 10 seconds to do, and if I find a host of things that you can do in 60 seconds, and if I take a host of things you can do out at 3 minutes, and put any scale you want on this and take it out as far as you want, and average these things, and graph this, what we're graphing here is work capacity measured across broad time and mobile domains. That is, how much power output, how long did it take? Now, the cool thing is, this is really easy to measure. The power, we can measure in foot-pounds per minute, which can be reduced like horsepower. What do you weigh? And how far did you move this up? So let's look at this thruster, that first piece that I was showing you here, this exercise that I discovered with my Sears Ted Williams weight set. I weigh 175 pounds. My center of mass is somewhere between here and here. It doesn't really matter because that, whatever point I pick as center of mass here, its translation is the same. It's from where it went here to here, we can measure that with a tape measure. And I know what I weigh, and I know how far I move my body, and I know the load in my hands is 95 pounds, and I can measure how far it travels. I'm able to count the reps. I can also use a watch with pretty good skill. And if I can do that, I can tell you how many foot-pounds a minute you expressed. And this area here, under the curve, becomes work capacity across broad time and modal domains. And for better or worse, the world had an operational definition of fitness that was amenable to accurate and precise estimation that had never been done before. And there were a lot of people just going, bullshit. Okay? But you know, definitions don't come in flavors good or bad. They have utility or not, and you're consistent or not. And we told people, well, give me your definition of fitness, and then let's have a competition. And I'll accept your standard when we're doing the workouts you pick, and then we'll use my standard when I pick the ones that we pick. And we did that with some people like the Canadian government, and it turned out that our definition of fitness provided a stimulus that prove better at fitness by their definitions. So we beat them on their own turf. Business is full of things that aren't well defined. Like business, I gave you mine. It's the art and science of providing uniquely attractive opportunities for other people. I got one for marketing. Marketing is all those things you do to improve the bottom line that don't directly improve the product or service. I don't like marketing or marketers. I want to make things better. I don't want to make more money. And so forget putting the flyers under windshield wipers in the mall to create your own litter storm. Forget the advertisements. Forget the promotions, the Groupon, all that stuff. It's all dumb. Just make your service better. Marketing does happen, but it shouldn't be done by the businessman. Who does the marketing? Who is it that improves the bottom line without directly contributing to the product or service? The customer, that's right, word of mouth. Those are your marketers. And they won't shut up. Huh, Carl? They won't stop talking about it. They won't stop talking. That's where marketing happens.
Extending the moral culture as well as the fitness culture.
Yeah, repeat the first part.
And folks that are starting your affiliates, are they sympathetic with you philosophically?
Perhaps, but they get that way quickly, eventually, for sure. When I speak with my affiliates, I always ask them, well, you know, how are we doing? They look at me like, great. I go, well, what do you need from me? Like, what do you mean? I go, what can we do for you? They don't say it, but the one thing I do for them is leave them alone. They're doing it. And the fascinating thing about running an amazing little gym and then allowing 5,000 people to imitate is you worry about the fidelity, about the quality. We have a system in place, and I think it's just free market, unfettered capitalism that is creating these affiliates, and their fidelity to the original is just amazing. It's amazing, and it happens. It's a cultural thing, and so I go to Parma, Ohio, a state forgotten by time and history, in a town that's just got mowed over by events. And I've got an affiliate there that's thriving. And they're telling me their stories, and you know, they got a guy who's lost 100 pounds, they got a gal who's in remission from breast cancer, and they got a kid that was on Ritalin and just had his ADD thing, and now there's nothing wrong with him, you know. And we all heard those stories. And the people that are working that on a day-to-day basis, making those kind of differences in people, a culture does develop. And it's very much like-minded like the original. So we go and hang with these people, and an hour into it, they're us. And their instincts, they're free market instincts, they're natural instincts. But the unfettered have a deep appreciation of being unfettered, even if they're not able to express it. And so the culture is crazy important. And it's the thing we safeguard. It's what we do at HQ. Anyone else? Please.
Given your work in the fitness industry, what is your opinion of government initiatives to encourage healthy lifestyles, like the Bloomberg ban on sodas in New York?
The federal government's war on fat has taken tens of millions of lives. There's one fantastic example. I don't want it. I don't have need for it. I don't like it. I've got no faith in government. I mean, it's worse than that. I hate government. And they don't need to be in health care. They don't need to be in my back pocket. They don't need to be in my bedroom. I got no interest in it. And I know what government will do for health care. We're seeing it. We're seeing it, and it's tragic. It's tragic. The CrossFit physician, we have a team doc, he's an interventional radiologist. shortly after the election, he announced, well, let me tell you what the future's like for the human body. No spare parts. It's gonna be like you buy a car and they tell you when the water pump's done, you're done. And it's gonna fall on us to make the difference. I've got an analogy for you. Physicians are lifeguards. Trainers are swim coaches. When you need a lifeguard, you need a lifeguard, not a swim coach. But if you need a lifeguard, you probably needed a swim coach. Didn't get one. And with this concerted and deliberate effort to destroy medicine and the economy, medical economy, that is what's happening. It is an attempt to destroy it, I believe. It's going to fall on the rest of us to start swimming lessons, because there's not going to be spare parts. By the way, our definition of fitness led to one for health, too. And there's another one. Medicine talks all day long about health. Physicians don't have a definition of it. And we've asked thousands now. I've got hundreds of physicians asking hundreds of physicians. And no one's been able to push a definition of health up yet. We do have one. And it's amenable to accurate and precise estimation, too.
We're all state-based policy folks, and you are a California guy, at least currently. Are you paying taxes? Does your company pay taxes in California? If so, how long do you plan to stay there, and why?
Dale, do we pay California taxes? No. How do we do that? Yeah, we pay a lot of taxes, but you know what? We don't pay them. The customer does. I guess I'm wealthy. And I'm telling my lefty friends, I go, Obama's not going to get any more money out of me. He's going to get it out of our clients. They're going to pay it. I'm just going to pass it on. That's just how that works, right? You know, I was tripping on the number of affluent, successful celebrities that were supporting Obama. And it just didn't make sense to me. And I got it. I understand. His policies won't affect them. They won't. Destroy the nation, but won't affect them. You eat the same food, drive the same nice cars, fly in the same nice airplanes, hang out with the same cool people. But the people that are buying their records and going to the movies, all of them, they'll pay more. No, when you destroy an economy, when you hurt first is the poor people. That's who's going to suffer. It may look like I'm paying more taxes. No, I'm going to collect more taxes and pass them on. And it'll be instant. It'll be instant. Everyone will raise their rates. What else are they going to do? Go out of business? Quit making people better? Not going to do that. Not going to do that. Yeah, California's a mess, but I am a Californian. 5th generation. My permanent residence is in Prescott, Arizona. Arizona does a lot of things right. A lot of things right. I've had a place in Arizona now for 6 years. I've not seen a pothole. I haven't. When you cross the border, whether you do this on an Interstate 8 or 10 or 40, the minute you cross the border, the roads are perfect. Someone said, how the hell do they do that? And I go, I'm going to guess they're taking the monies they raised for the highways and spending it on. I mean, I'm not an expert, that would be my guess. Because in Santa Cruz, there are potholes that, I know one on 41st Avenue that just pull the wheel right off your car. You know? You can hear when people hit it as you're riding your bike along. And I know that we're paying taxes there, a lot of them. Yeah, California's a mess, and I don't know what we can do about it. I'm just going to keep making people better one person at a time. And my affiliates and my trainers will charge what they need to do. You know, maybe 20 years from now, we'll be collecting our fees in chickens and vegetables. But we'll still be there. We'll still be at it. No, it's it's the little guy that's going to get mowed over. We're very much systematically removing all the bottom rungs of the ladder. And it's just a horrible thing to watch. So I don't look at it too much.
Tanks, right? We're state policy tanks.
Yes.
State-based think tanks. Do you support a state-based think tank in Arizona or California? And what product is it that gets you excited to buy and support what we do?
I haven't supported the state policy network, and if you point it out to me in Arizona and California, and I will today. I don't claim to have words of wisdom on the subject at all. So I'm here to share. But I'm very interested, and I want to be a participant. And I want to support what you're doing. And I love the local level. My affiliates, we don't tell them how to run their businesses. And so they've taken off in 1,000 different directions. About 265 of them have chosen directions that now have them doing other things. And so it's a very Darwinian process. They failed. We had about 265, was one of the numbers, failed gyms of more than 5,000. It's a Darwinian free market world. But what's fascinating is that there is a collective knowledge within the 5,000 affiliates of things that work and don't work. And the speed with which the community learns those things is something that could never be controlled from the top. Never, ever, ever. I could mandate one accounting system after another, and I wouldn't come up with the mind, body, Zen planner. There's several of the alternatives that are going around in our community today that are rapidly popular. I didn't build Rogue, the equipment maker. We didn't do that, but there's a reason they're doing $60 million a year. It's because they're making equipment better than anyone else and for less money than anyone else. This is how that played out. And I see in this, in your state policy network, in this assemblage of think tanks, I would hope that you could, if I were involved, I would want to find some metric that was amenable to precise and accurate estimation that suggested when the local network was affiliated, and then I just start comparing methodologies. And I don't know what that would look like for you, but we could probably come up with some things. Does that make sense? I want to measure something, and then I want to have a competition. Yeah, I'm a numbers guy. I got that from my old man, the engineer. He got the numbers forced on me. They're important.
My name is Roland Bueller. I'm with the Madison Coalition. We're about empowering states to take power.
Where are you? I'm looking at okay, I see.
We're about empowering states to take power out of Washington. And I'm listening to you talk about a grassroots movement that gets people to sacrifice, to really sacrifice, to suffer pain, to make their world better. And my question is, have you thought about how to apply that model where people come in off the street to your place and they sacrifice to make the world better, and how that might apply to building grassroots movements in politics that would take power out of Washington, take power out of government, give it back to the people?
It's not my style nor my belief or inclination to want to start from the top and think I can make something happen. I'm going to come up from the bottom guy. Let me give you, for instance, I have spoken on probably 15 or 20 occasions with collections of generals and military leaders and DOD types in one-on-one, 10-on-1, spoken at the military war college. We do a lot of military work, a lot of consulting with generals. I don't think any of it's done any good for anyone. And yet, I know that amongst the Navy SEALs, penetration might be, Dave, 80%. If the Secretary of the Navy were to say, you have to do CrossFit, I'd probably have fewer SEALs doing it next week than I do this week. They don't want to be told what to do either. They will at the strategic level, on and off. That's what they do, but on the tactical level, how I prepare for that, they're figuring that out on their own. Now, I'm a grassroots guy. I want to get it from the bottom up. From the bottom up. And by the time, and you know what's funny is the reason the generals started calling, the reason the DOD called, was because the soldiers were doing CrossFit. And they couldn't ignore it anymore. And they initially brought us in to try and find a way to kill it. And then we ended up some friends in high ranks, but none of them have been able to really affect the kind of change. You can't mandate this. You tell guys they have to do CrossFit, they won't. You get some guys doing it, and they will get others doing it. What are the possibilities, I wonder, of involving this state policy network with our local affiliates?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, if I ran a state policy network in any state, I would go talk to local affiliates and just see how we could work together. Let me tell you the kinds of things we're playing with. I mean, we're going to use our model. I just found a guy that wants to fund a CrossFit school, and I can't leave that alone. And we're just going to do the same kind of thing. Need metrics, fundamentals. You know, we're developing a curriculum. We're going to launch a school. And I don't want help from the federal government. I don't want help from the state government. I want to leave us alone. I need students, I need parents, and I need teachers. That's it. We can do the rest. And that'll be the hardest thing. That'll be the biggest challenge, would be the being left alone part. But I would take full advantage of those. Go into the affiliates and all of you and tell them that I told you to go see them. Get to know them. Let's see what we can do together. I know we can do something. I know we can do something. These are super successful. I mean, you'll see me in the affiliates. You'll see me in the affiliates. Is that a question?
Well, the concept you're talking about with excellence being contagious. My question's about excellence being contagious.
Yeah, let me just correct something. It's not that it's contagious so much that it's just obvious.
Well, I use contagious in a positive sense. So what about CrossFit aside from the workouts, that excellence? What makes it so contagious? And what can we in the Liberty Movement learn from that? And then a follow-up, squat, deadlift, or overhead press.
Repeat again, I lost some of that.
The contagiousness in the positive sense.
Yeah.
When you talk about that excellence that CrossFit embodies.
Yeah.
What makes it, aside from the workouts, so contagious? And what can the Liberty Movement learn from that?
Yeah, it was Captain Michael Perry with the 1st Special Forces Group. He called me and he says, Coach, camaraderie is a huge part of what we do in the Green Berets. It's essential. I mean, we talk about it all the time. He goes, we've learned from CrossFit the formula. He says it's the mixture of agony and laughter. And well, that does have some drawing power. It's amazing. But you get in with a bunch of friends and you're all giving of yourselves, and it's a collective effort. No one gets more attention or focus than the last guy in the door. You know, the guy that comes in last. That's where all the heart is. And it's a communal effort. It's a communal workout. And the ties there are amazing. And what happens within the box, within the community of the gym, is that when it's time to move, those are the people that are going to help you load up your stuff and take it down the road. If you got to drop your car off at Toyota in the morning and you need to ride into the gym, those are the people that are going to do it. They'll be there ahead of your workmates. They'll be ahead of the people at your church. That's the community part, and that's all just quite natural. And I think you all have it too. I mean, I'm standing here in a room full of libertarians. We got a lot in common. I think I'm done. Thank you.